And
Live at 5.
apparently it started, but wait, you gotta wait for YouTube. YouTube's got to tell you if you're live.
YouTube.
You always wonder why people are doing that. Whenever you're watching a live stream, you see this awkward silence at the beginning.
They're all just sitting around waiting.
Or this random, like, in between for a conversation, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're live!
Hey!
Which, by the way, we are.
Woo! We're live! There, I did it.
Oh, you're our one concurrent viewer. YouTube's been doing some really weird stuff for me.
I haven't joined yet, so actually I'm not.
We have a
I'm
viewer.
about to.
Okay. Hello to
just
the
joined.
one. How's it going? YouTube's
Now
been
I'm
doing
in.
some really weird stuff this week.
What else is new?
Just randomly, like, my channel will, like, come to a complete halt, and it won't move at all. The latest video I put out about the pile, nobody watched. And I'm like, there's at least a searchability to that, which is, like, my channel does a lot of searchable content, right? So stuff that people find, like, they want to see this mic versus that mic, so they'll search it up and they'll find it. The pile video has gotten, like, nothing. And then all of a sudden, all of my subs stopped just the other day, like nothing. So we'll see if this actually gets out to people. See if people are actually seeing this. We have 3 sitting in the stands as we speak.
I'm one of them.
How is your Friday, everybody? 2 people, because Dylan doesn't count. Oh, wait, now we're up to 3. There's 4.
Woo!
How's your week,
subtract
Dylan?
1. It was decent.
Okay. Meh, drinking a beer. It's about that
Decent. But not only am I drinking beer, but I'm drinking my Friday Night Live beer.
Good. Ooh.
Yeah,
Golden ale.
that's what I had last. Yeah, it's actually not bad considering it's I don't know, from what I gather, it's like London Brewing Company is like doing it to like support local artists. So on like each can they have like a different local band that they've decided to spotlight.
Nice.
I don't know. It's kind of neat. I know, it's a cool idea.
I'm drinking coffee because I might fall asleep at any given time.
That's fair.
Yeah, so first things, we're starting out with the actual title of the stream. We can probably touch on this throughout. Red Cabin Acoustic, welcome to the stream.
Welcome.
Yeah, Red Cabin was telling me that they just keep missing the stream, so nice to have you. So I pissed off the voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay. Well, see, I know the first half of this story.
I'm guessing. No, you know the whole story. The problem is
there's nothing yet.
nothing came from it, and in fact, it was just more of like a complete like nothing sandwich that came out of it. Now, if you're a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs or hockey in general, every team has this on social media. Well, they'll have a kind of let's get going video, like here's what's coming up tonight with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this guy who's the new voice of the Leafs in their he's the in-arena announcer as well, does the videos, and the audio is just, well, you heard it, Dylan.
Yeah,
tell
it's
me,
not great. It's not great.
It's not on par with what you would expect from an organization like the Toronto
from like
Maple
a major league like OG team,
right?
Like, now that said, I've heard a lot worse.
Yeah. Okay. So have I.
But like you know, it's still for a professional league content. It's still cringe.
A multi-billion-dollar organization.
Yeah. It's like take a couple $1,000s out of some of these guys' salaries and maybe get some But so I think so. You just kind of send off a message. I would have said, because I mean, you know, can you imagine the amount of people that send these guys like, hey, I can do something for you, give me some stuff to work with.
I get it.
But so like doing some kind of like speculative thing, or a spec as we call it in the biz, what might have been a little bit more like, it's like, here's an example of what I could make you think, like here's an actual like tangible like example, like take like transcribe what he said in his latest thing, re-record it yourself, put some like solid
but then I'm
music
insulting him with my voice.
Well, but then it's just like, you know, picture this, but with your voice in it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Red Cabin says drinking tea, have some VO to do later. Tea's not bad. Water's the best. Water very much good.
I've done all my VO today. I voiced like 15 spots today.
Really?
Which is a lot during COVID.
Yeah. Well, I mean, depends. I mean, you get paid to do it, so it's not too bad.
I don't get paid extra to do it. It's just part of my, sourly wage.
Yeah, no. What time are you technically done on a Friday? Like right before this starts?
When there's no work to do.
Fair enough.
That's normal. Like Friday is the one day of the week. Like every other day of the week fluctuates. It always has. I mean, shit. I remember before COVID, there was one Friday that I was at the station doing imaging until 4:00 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And then I walked home, and then at 9:30, my boss called me on the Saturday to tell me that somebody had screwed up like a team name in like 6 15-second spots in Kitchener. So I had to walk all the way back into work in the rain 5 hours after I went to bed.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
now
you
during
gotta do
COVID,
it.
like the one boundary that I have now is Friday. Friday is the one day I need to be done at 5 or
Yeah.
ideally earlier because I do groceries on Friday. So
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
like being done at like 4:15, 4:30.
So, continuing the story of the Toronto Maple Leafs,
Yes,
I,
please do.
I sent the voice guy for the Toronto Maple Leafs, just kind of saying, hey, man, DM me. He did. And I just said, hey, big fan of the team. Love it. I was just thinking maybe you would let us do your next video. Now, I'm not looking for money, but I did say, if you
Yeah.
like it, you can come talk to us. That was all. That was it. So if you like it, come back. And nothing.
Nada.
Like not a single thing. And all I wanted
Nada.
to do is send me the audio, like do the voice bit, send it to us. We'll do it and we'll send it back to you. We'll even do the video up. We'll do everything. And I think I offended him.
Did you like? Well, yeah, 'cause I don't know. Some people, even though they're not producers, they think of themselves as that.
Okay,
Even
if-
though that's not like their professional occupation.
If you are a voiceover talent, odds are you are not a professional producer.
Probably not.
Odds are.
Probably not. There are some, like the guy in the States that I know, Victor Lyle. He's amazing VO, and his original OG occupation
Oh,
is producer. He's a
Oh,
producer.
I'm sure there are some. I'm going to say for the most part, probably not everyone.
Happy Friday, CF Wheezy.
Hey, buddy. So to me, like a voiceover talent that's doing his own audio, cool. But if it could be better, why not make it better? Especially when you're the voice of a multi-billion-dollar
The thing is, though,
organization.
with VO, and like this isn't necessarily a thing for every profession, and there certainly are VO people that this doesn't apply to. I know many of them that are stellar people, but there's some egos in the VO space.
Oh, some. Yeah.
That you have to get past, and
They
I think
work for
sometimes, yeah, they do, yeah, they do. So, and music radio creative
Yeah,
in the UK.
yeah.
But I think sometimes that ego extends over to some areas that maybe they shouldn't be having. Now, again, I'm not saying that this guy is that. I can't confirm that, just in case he's watching.
No, I don't think so.
I doubt it.
But when you, and it's never, it's never meant to insult. But if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, man, can I see your voiceover?" Just saying, and it was a person that sold themselves as a producer, I'd be like, "Yeah, let's see what that sounds like." That'd be kind of cool to have a professional producer take a look at your stuff, work it, and give it back to you, just to show you what they can do. That's kind of cool, no?
Yeah, I would think.
Anyways, well, I guess you don't become the voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs by keeping your ego in check. And I don't mean that in a way of like
No.
arrogance.
No,
but
it's just it's fact. I mean, you know, if I had that gig, I'd be pretty bloody confident, probably
Yeah.
to my own demise.
and you know what? He took over for Andy Frost. As the
I know
voice.
that name.
Yeah. Andy Frost used to be, well, he was Q107. I think
Okay,
he was
that's-
doing
I think that's
evenings
where I know.
Q107 in Toronto.
I think your old boss mentioned him.
Yeah.
one point.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Yeah. My
Yeah.
old boss. Well, it's still same boss, by the way, but he is.
Eh? Oh, I thought. Oh,
If there's anyone,
good thing I didn't mention a name.
just anyone watching from my work, I'm so sorry. However, it's one of those things that I don't know. Maybe we can move on from that ego in this industry, Dylan. Maybe like
you would think.
I
like-
recognize that I'm not the ultimate producer. I know I can produce stuff, not at the highest value, but I can produce stuff. But I damn well know when there's a producer around me that produces for a living, that they're going to do a better job than me. Like that, it's just
Which
that's
is
math.
good to know. And honestly, having a this is a kind of a whole other springboard into a topic, but I think balancing that, because you generally find two types of people in the entertainment business at large, is you have people with unchecked ego that's just through the roof cocky confidence, where they're good at everything and nobody can say shit about them. And then you've got the people that absolutely have zero confidence in themselves at all. And it's actually quite rare that I find someone that is right in the middle in that nice balance of, I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm not good at. I have a good, like, people self-perception of that tends to not be very good on average.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are in the process of learning this stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's
Well,
producers.
that's our whole demographic
Yeah.
for the most part, are just, we're all learning here. That's this whole community that we've, community influencer terms. But
Well,
this
no,
the whole
but-
community here is of people that, we're all learning together, right? That's
Well,
what this whole
I mean,
live is about.
voiceover community is community. Like, that everyone knows
No, but
everyone.
I'm talking about the Dark Corner Studios community.
Oh, yeah. The Dark Corner Studios community. Yeah, I mean, it's hopefully that's kind of what everyone's coming for. We'll see. I know it's not my comedy. Oh! Do you know who Brittle Star is?
I'm going to eat my words, but no.
Oh.
Yeah, I told you. I knew it.
Jan wants to know, so Dylan have a new mic?
Not a new mic, but I'm using it today because I was doing some higher profile stuff earlier that I can't really talk about. But I was voicing some higher profile stuff, so I swapped out just temporarily swapped out the RE20 for
what?
for the old U87.
The old U87. Just you had to pull it out. It was in the closet underneath some clothes.
No, it was in the booth. It's in the booth. Smart ass.
It was just shoved in there. He kicked it in there the last time he was changing clothes.
I'm actually surprised this arm, this PSA 1 is actually holding up pretty good.
The PSA 1 holds the NT2A and all the accoutrements that comes with it, and that's probably the same weight.
It's not so much the weight, it's the torque.
Yeah,
that this is putting on this, and it's not buckling, which I'm impressed by.
Yeah, no,
I expected this little swivel joint to just go.
It's actually, they're pretty well built. I got to give PSA Road a lot of credit for that. So,
actually, earlier, sort of side note, I had to take off. I had to disassemble this yoke on this Neumann mount just so that I could flip the mount around so that it could stick out the right way, and just the amount of pieces, like, over-engineered to the max. The amount of tiny little metal grommets and pieces and shit that are just wedged inside this little screw.
I would prefer that. When you stick $4,000 on the end of it, you kind of hope
absolutely. I was just laughing. I'm going, geez, I think I get less parts in a cereal box.
Yeah, probably.
This is crazy.
But this is also a testament to the $100 and some odd Canadian you spent. At $139, I think it is Canadian. It's like $99 US.
Yeah, well, and I will say these elastics are worth it. Like I took the elastics off just to do some work on it, and the elastics, when they're like, they are so stretched right now. The elastics when they're off are about that big, and somehow they can, not only do they not stretch past, they don't get worn down.
The better tension, the better it does its job.
Oh yeah, well, absolutely. But I don't expect it. It's like that old, demonetized much, but that old adage that you can take like a well-made condom and stretch it up to your shoulder and it'll stay put. I saw a guy did when I was in high school in like grade 9 health years ago. He did that. He actually took like a Trojan and it was like whoop, and it didn't break, and I'm like, what?
That's over-engineered.
That's a fluke, man.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Anybody with something arm-sized or
exactly.
Okay.
Well, that's why that's why his whole point was saying, people that buy Magnums are morons because you could just do this. It's fine. I'm like,
I don't want that conversation today, but okay.
that's supposed to be the kicker conversation.
Red Cabin, comments. Are you liking the 420? Okay, so I've bought every of the P series, Perception series.
Yeah, you've had 3 of them for how long now? You've had all 3 of them?
I just picked up the 420 2 weeks ago, but I kind of really wanted to put it through its paces. And while I was putting through its paces, I was like, is this thing any different from the 220? So I took them apart just to find out. No. It's actually just got a secondary capsule activated. When you take the P220 and the 420 apart, they're the exact same microphone with another capsule activated on the back. Like they even have both capsules on the P220. The P420 has the wire going to it.
Yeah, well, that's. I think they've probably done that as a cost-saving measure. In other words, what we're learning here is, and that's actually an interesting point, is you could probably easily wire up the 220 to a standard multipolar pattern like dual capsule circuit, and the 220 could get. It won't have the sound of the 420, but it'll have that capability that the 220 otherwise. I'm pretty
sure the 220 you could wire it up.
It literally might be the same capsule because it's a lot cheaper for them to get one manufacturer to batch produce a million of one SKU.
I'm pretty sure it is. And you know what? I mean, to be honest, I mean, it's only, $30, $35 more than the 220. So, I mean, sure, pay the $30-$35 for the ability to have multiple patterns, but...
So let's do the math. So the 220 is what, like $15 more expensive than the 120?
No, it's more like $30-$35.
Okay, so it's like $60 more expensive to get the 420. It's like less than half the price of the original mic to get the 420.
Yeah, it's twice the price of the P120 to get the 420.
So I love the cost there. You've got the 120, the 220, the 240, and then the 840 or the 820. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, well, that's a tube.
It is. And that's totally different. Well,
like, I'm keeping these three
technology.
self-contained in their own kind of ecosystem because even with the pencil mic, I mean, it's not the same. It's not going to be the same.
No.
So it should be interesting to see how the 420, like I've already finished the video. It's coming Monday, but it's weird to think that you would pay the extra money. Like the only reason you'd buy the P420 is if you need the multiple polar patterns. There's no other reason to buy that over the 220.
I'd say, especially the demographic here, like the vast majority of the people would not need that.
Like, I mean, I don't believe in using different polar patterns for speech. Like having one microphone for two people with the figure 8.
Okay. I mean, yeah, if you can avoid it, I'd say most of the time in a contemporary setting, yes, you're absolutely right. There are instances like if you're trying to simulate how vocals were recorded in the 60s and 50s, absolutely, you set a mic to Omni, or if you've only got two people singing harmonies, figure 8.
Yep.
Or if there's weird issues where you've got a lot of flutter echo, like if you got a room that's like half isolated, it's isolated on one axis but none on the other, figure 8, really great rejection from the sides. Like there are niche examples, but like 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, cardioid will suffice.
Yep. CFWC, I've taken apart that one time and everything fell out, put it together and left it alone. The PSA. Yeah. I took it apart once too because I actually did a video on this last year about the PSA 1, the spring broke in it. So I actually took it apart to try to get the spring out and to re-stretch and put in a new spring. But then I just called Rode and they sent me a brand new one because...
I have a question.
Pain. What?
I have a question. If I do this, are you getting like weird crackling at all?
No.
In my signal? Oh.
Impressive. Are you getting weird crackling?
No. So to attach this U87... which it's the RE20's mic port XLR outputs in a completely different place, and this cable that I custom built for this arm is only a certain length coming out of the end of the arm, so it's really being unhappily flexed to go into the bottom of the U87, and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna short this because it's also a foil shield because it's studio cabling, not like touring cabling. So I'm like, if that foil breaks, I mean it's a balanced cable, so it's not gonna make a massive difference anyway. But so I'm impressed that my little tiny shit solder job has actually held up.
I actually just had to replace like 3 cables in my studio this week. Oh, so God, I had to actually order out for them. And
Mogami, all the way.
No, I'm not buying Mogami. Screw that. David,
so pretentious.
David says there's some hilarious egos, people that clearly think they have status or something, mostly deluded idiots. You know what? Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, I do kind of too. Has Dylan done the grocery shopping? What did he get?
What did I get? I got some...
Did you have to go grocery shopping last week? Or do you and David have like a relationship I don't know about?
No, I mentioned earlier in the thing that usually Fridays I go grocery shopping.
Oh,
you were here.
Listening, yeah.
Okay. I was just not listening to my rant. What did I get? Just some odds and ends. I think I got some milk. I got some sandwich meat. I got some bacon. We got some. I got some cleaning supplies. Just nothing. Nice. Nothing interesting.
Ken says, "Sorry, I'm late. Can y'all start over or give me the highlight?" All right, hey, we're live.
Yeah, literally start over from the very like verbatim.
Yeah. All the concurrent viewers 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm not even on yet. What's that one viewer's not me?
David says, "Pay attention, Aiden. Cool, Dylan." Sorry. You know what?
You're just getting slammed.
Oh, I get hammered for this on a daily basis because if I'm on a morning show, right? I do a morning show,
Yep.
and I have a co-host who does news. And so my job in the morning is I get my prep and I bring the prep with me and I'm like, okay, so we can talk about this. He's like, dude, I had that all the way through my news yesterday. We had that in the news yesterday. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like you're sitting right there while I'm doing news.
I've done that. I've done like either monitoring or stuff, and my brain just turns off during the news.
Oh.
It just automatically. It's like listening to a commercial break. Well, now it's actually ironic. I actually listen more during commercial breaks than I do during the news.
For me, when news is on, it's the one time during the morning show where I don't have to be actively, okay, what am I saying next? What are we doing?
Oh God, yeah.
Because
It's the one time
someone
when you get
else.
to like breathe.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, I'm not listening to your bloody newscast, and you can't make me. God damn.
Oh man, no. Honestly, I kind of missed the adrenaline rush of doing like an actual show like that. There was something sick and twisted about how fun that was. Just
Yep.
the stress and the anxiety and the.
It is a super amount of stress, but at
Well,
the same
especially
time,
when
it's
you're
also
doing
fun.
when you're doing a morning show, because not only do you have to do everything that you normally have to do when you're doing a solo show, but you've also got to coordinate and communicate.
Yeah,
which
I
adds
run
a whole
the
other layer.
board. I do
Yeah,
all of
oh
that,
my
and
God.
the worst, not the worst part, but the part that's the hardest on a body from a morning show perspective is you have to be you plus 10%. So you at your best, 100% you, and then you have to add 10% on top of that. So when you're talking, like I don't normally have a conversation with Dylan while I'm talking like this. And this is kind of the same vibe as a morning show is if you want to be funny, if you want to be antic-y.
Well, it's, the way I look at it is, and it's the same thing with VO, like voicing a commercial. Like, you know, when you're voicing a commercial as an announcer, don't put on, well, I'm Randy Radio. You don't do that. Nobody fucking likes that. Piss off. Like, no, you need to be you, like your character. You need to be approachable, conversational, plus like 10, 15% emphasis. And the reason that you have to add plus 10, 15% emphasis is because when you cut away all of the body language, facial expressions, all of those things away from a person and you're just left with the voice as it would be in a face-to-face discussion, you're missing that other information.
Yeah.
So you almost need to make up for that with that added, like you said, 10 or 15%.
Well, and that's how you add that expression. When I answer the phone, it's not like 95.7 Element FM.
Yeah.
It's 95.7 Element FM. Who's this?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Right?
and also I find, especially like with phone calls, it helps to get the energy out of the, like they will subconsciously start to mimic you. Like if you answer the phone, you're like, they're going to go, but if
Yeah.
you answer the phone, you're like, hey, what's going on? Like they're going to be,
Yep. It brings
Distorting the
your
mic like I
energy
just
in. Ken wants to know, bloody newscast, where are you, Aiden? Effing London. There's nothing wrong with London. No, I do actually have...
which London? The real
yeah,
London or the one that I'm in?
London, Ontario, yeah.
That's first or the second London?
I've taken, I say cheers a lot, which is, I've been called on, what are you, Australian? I don't know why I say cheers, I just do. Hey, cheers, bud.
Everyone's, it's just a mannerism. Everyone's got their thing.
Yeah.
You do say cheers a lot.
I got out of the habit when I lived in Alberta saying you betcha. So
You betcha.
oh, you betcha, bud. You got it.
You'll bet you're right, bud.
Oh,
See, I would expect that from the East Coast, not from Alberta.
Oh, well, you got to remember, Alberta has a lot of the East Coast there. Newfoundlanders have moved into Alberta in a lot of sections, or at least when I was there, they were. Now, Brittle Star, look it up. It's a guy. Look up Brittle Star. Some very, very interesting news, and this is based on a bit that I'm doing for Canada Day for the channel. I had an idea. Not going to tell anyone what the idea was.
You always
No,
just,
because it's a comedy bit. Okay, this is kind of the stuff.
Yeah, I get it. Yep.
Yeah. So if I explain it, it ruins it. Blah blah.
Yes.
Red Cabin says you're still part of the Commonwealth. It's okay. Thank you. Good to be here.
Good to be here. Yes, very good. Very
So-
good. Yes.
Brittle Star. Do you know who he is yet? Have you looked him up?
Nope.
I told you to look up.
I'm
Brittle
watching the
Star.
comments, Aiden. Jeez.
All right. Brittlestar is this comedian, I guess you call it. He calls himself Canada's dad. And he basically does very Canadian comedy. He does stuff along the lines of explaining Canadian Thanksgiving to an American, where he stands on his porch and he plays both the American and the Canadian. I just dropped Brittlestar a line saying, hey, man, you want to help me with this bit? And probably the most famous internet Canadian star, Brittlestar.
Oh, yeah, I've seen him. I
Right?
recognize him. I've seen him around, yeah.
He said yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So now he did say the concept I have is also something that there was, he's got a paid sponsor that wants him to do something mildly similar. So he said, send me the script. We'll see if we can do it. And I might actually have a video to be done with one of the most famous internet comedians from Canada.
Nice. Okay, we have an advice question here.
All right, Thomas Taylor, welcome to the stream, buddy.
Welcome.
Just putting together a podcast setup. So far, I have an AT2100 mic and a Neewer boom arm and Sony headphones. That's it. Cool. Looking at the Zoom PodTrack P4, what would you recommend next? If you need the Zoom, so the Zoom PodTrack is going to fill a couple needs if you need it. If you need to take phone calls, get the PodTrack P4. If you need the extra gain, which with an AT2100 you probably don't, but it's nice to have. At the price point, yeah, I would say PodTrack P4, as long as you're not doing anything else with it other than recording a podcast. That's where the PodTrack P4 does pull up a little short. It doesn't do anything other than podcasts. Although it's super powerful for what it is, it has limitations with its sample rate, its bit depth, that kind of stuff. So just make sure if that's all you're doing is a podcast, go PodTrack P4. If for some other reason that you want to do anything else, there's a myriad of options for you. If you really need to keep the stuff light and simple that you can carry around, the Zoom H5 or H6 are great options, and they have higher sample rate and bit depth that you can use for that. Am I interrupting your texting, Dylan?
Work.
Oh, okay.
Sales rep.
Oh, I thought you were in trouble for something.
Well, yes, but
Oh, what'd you do?
they wrote a shitty script, and I voiced the shitty script, and then somehow I'm responsible for the script being shitty.
Oh, yeah, I get that. Thomas says saving for the RA22. If you're planning on rocking an RA20, the PodTrack P4 will be a nice starter. How's that? If you're saving up for the RA20, yeah, the PodTrack P4 will be a nice starter, but do expect that you probably want to upgrade that puppy in the future when you get the RA20. So you kind of want to upgrade both at the same time. Ken says, what's
sorry.
that? No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I will say about the RE20 is people always give the SM7B flack for not having a transformer in it, which I stand by the way, contrary to a comment that insisted that it does.
I've pulled it apart. It doesn't.
No, it does not. Factually, you're an idiot, whoever that guy was who I don't remember. But so the RE20 actually does, to my knowledge, and it still requires a ton of gain.
It does need a lot of gain. Yeah.
You know, I've got, this board that I have here offers 65 dB, and I had that RE20 when it was plugged in, and now needless to say, that was a rude awakening when I plugged the Neumann in and went to go test it, and I was like, wow, okay, all right, Jesus. But it was at like 430.
Well, the selling feature of the 27 is that it has 6 more dB, or it needs 6 less dB of gain for the 27.
Which is good.
Which is
good. I mean, that's
quite a bit.
So that probably puts it on par about with the SM57 and the SM58.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah, they're both about the same. I find the SM57 is a little more gain hungry.
You can drive a 58 with 55 dBs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, or even I've driven it with 45. Like I've got a 2 preamp that only has 45 dB of gain.
Yeah.
And I've driven it with that, and it provided I'm not doing like whisper calls or something.
If you're on a 58 and you're doing whisper calls, we need to talk.
No, that's when we bring out the big guns, which is that's why actually I brought this out for that earlier project that I was telling you about, was because it required some very low and nice sounding VO.
Keep doing that. Ken says the 2100 needs gain like the SM58 by my experience. I thought the 2100 needed just a little bit less. It could be. It's been a long time since I put the two of them side by side. I should pick up another 2100 to do in the testing. I do have. I bought the Bloody Beta 58A.
Have you used it yet? Have you tried it?
No, I've been too busy, man. I gotta say, it's a premium looking mic.
It is.
It has.
I love that little blue ring. That's the signature, man. That's why people spend the extra like $100.
And it's fascinating too
ring.
because I never like. I think it's been 14 years since I used a 58A. Like it's just been so long.
Mic. I've got one of each. I got a 58 and a Beta 58, and I will say the modified polar pattern on the 58 does come in handy, especially in live situations.
Oh, I can imagine. As long as you're not standing right in front of the bloody speaker.
No, well, if you are, make sure the mic's pointing back at it, and you're good.
No, it has to be pointed from the side because it has pickup at the rear.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But still not as much as like in the front 45 degrees.
The 27ND is brighter and louder. The 320 is ND as well. Red cabin acoustic. Yeah, I like the 320 over the 27. I don't care what anyone says. I've used the 27. It was my main mic at the last radio station I was at, and
you just like it because it looks cooler.
Well, you can get the 20 black now, the RE20 black.
Can you?
Yeah, you can order the RE20 black now. I believe the RE27 is going to be coming in black as well.
Well, it's like the AKG Perception series, the P120, all that series. They all used to be blue. The one that I have is blue.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bright blue. Here, I'll grab the 120 and I'll show you.
See, I've seen a lot of the AKG P series coming in as silver, which kind of blows my mind because I've never been able to buy an actual silver. Oh, that's cool.
It's like a powdered kind of metallic-y blue. And that was one of the coolest things about the series. And then they start making them black. I said, well, now they're just like everybody else.
I prefer the black.
Yeah. We know.
Jan says Zoom H6 is great, useful in many ways. Yeah, you know what? That Zoom H series.
Yep, I have the H6, and I can second that. It is a lovely little piece of equipment.
If you don't want to spend that much money and you get the H5, you get the exact same preamps, you get the exact same cartridge capabilities of swapping out. The H series is I wouldn't go as low as the H4n just because I like the swappable cartridges on top. But the H5 is it's fan. Also, the H4n Pro doesn't have as nice breeze.
I don't know if the H5 is like this because I always considered the H5 to have the software of the H4 with the hardware advances of the H5 of the H6. But so what I've done with the H6, so here's an interesting application of it, is I've sent the H6 over to like a friend or a colleague's place with like a mic stand, a mic, cable, and headphones. And I'll send the H6 with a preloaded SD card with a track. And the way that the H6 is designed, you can actually overdub to existing audio on a separate channel into one of the other channels. So I'll say, plug this into channel 3, channel 1 and 2 are going to be the mix, and just track your takes to this mix. And then they'll send the whole kit back to me in a box. And then I'll basically, it'll be like, we were in a studio, and they'll just record it and they'll send it, and I'll get to work with it. That is the coolest thing, is that it actually has like project files, like the H8. I think has the same sort of functionality. Obviously, there
is so much about the H series when you go through the manual, and it's a Bible. Like these things are thick.
Even the H4 manual is massive.
Oh, and there's so many things that you don't even know you can do with the bloody thing. Like it's just stupid.
Even like you can use I think the others you can use for this too, but the H6, they actually have a mode where you can use it as like an SPL meter.
Yeah.
To actually measure and it'll convert the meters to like dB SPL instead of dBFS, which is kind of neat. Obviously, I'm sure it's not super as accurate as a real SPL meter, but it's still like it's built in. It's a Swiss Army knife. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and it's literally that. Like, just if you don't have an H series, just go and download the manual for the H5 or H6 and just look at the
Just
amount
read
of
it.
crap you can do with it.
Oh,
It's-
especially the H6. Like the is one of, usually reading a manual for a product like that, like the H4, the H5, the H1, I can read the manual and wrap my head around. Okay, this is the menu for that. This is the menu for that. With the H6, like I was like, I don't know what I need to get the thing in my hand to.
Yeah.
Like this is too convoluted. I can't wrap my head around this. Just reading about it.
Still want to get a bloody H8. That never came through with Zoom. We just got focused on the P8, which I'm hearing middle of June. I should be getting one. We'll see.
See, I like the idea of the H8, and especially that's supposed to have better preamps and better, nice touchscreen interface and everything, which is nice whenever Zoom decides to update their interfaces of their products. But my one critique of the H8, and I'm a broken record with this, but is that they're moving out of, like, the whole point of the H is they're supposed to be handy. They're supposed to be handheld. And the H8 is sort of teetering on the edge.
No, it's more than teetering. You look at the H5, you can put it in your pocket. You
Well,
can't with
even
the
the H6, I would walk around with the H6 in my back pocket, and it's still comfortable, provided you don't have anything plugged into it other than the top mics. But it's kind of like I always thought the H6 was a nice marriage between their field recorders and the handy series, like a handheld field recorder, because it had those extra ports. It had a ton of juice that you could squeeze out of them.
Well, and you could sit down and you could use it as an interface for a computer. You could there's
with 6 ports. Like, that's crazy.
It's pretty ridiculous. I do have to say, Zoom is falling a little bit behind Rode. I called them because I'm like, I'm gonna need a Rodecaster Pro. He's like, yeah, we'll get on it. We're just out of stock at the moment, but we'll send you one out. I'm like, Zoom's falling behind Rode. Just gonna have to say.
Oh, you mean as far as shipping and as far as like customers?
Yeah,
I don't say customer support because this is a unique situation, but
well, no, I mean, you just like send me some gear, send me something that I can work.
But you
with.
got to wonder, like, if you were buying an H8, you'd probably get it.
Oh, I would have already gotten it. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
Same thing with
because
the
of the, and you got to wonder, like, if you were Linus and you ordered an H8, if they would be expedited a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. Red Cabin Acoustics says, I was searching for an SE Dynamite and found a Dynamite and a 320 for 306 American.
That's pretty good. The two of them together, like a mic activator and a 320.
And then Ken says, good Lord, tons of fucking bleeding going on in here. LOL. The P8 is still 44.1 and 16-bit, not worth the $500 to me, in my opinion. You know what? And I'm just talking about getting it for review. I don't want to get it to actually use the thing. I know you're talking about the H8, but I'm day drinking. Sue me. That's cool, Ken. You do you, brother. The P8, actually, what I found out about it since, and this is probably the most frustrating thing for me, is the 44.1 16-bit is one thing. It's aimed at podcasters. It's aimed at people that are just recording their voice and exporting it down to an MP3 at 192 kilohertz. That's what that's aimed for. So the 44.1 and 16-bit doesn't really bother me as much. No. However, the stereo recording options when you plug it into the back of your computer as an interface, like it's a 2-channel. That's it.
A lot of, and that annoys me too. A lot of the mixer board style interfaces or boards that incorporate interfaces into their chipset are usually.
All they need is a driver for it. That's all you need. And Zoom has multi-track drivers. Like they have it on the L8. They have it. And you can record multi-track onto the SD card with the P8. But you can't record multi-track as an interface plugged into your computer.
Yeah.
Why?
Which is annoying.
It's not just annoying. It basically handicaps the whole concept of what that could be. Like that could be a full studio solution that does multi-track. Now, that being said, a full studio solution, I just shot myself in the foot being 44.1 and bitrate of 16. Bangs, how's it going, man? The H8 is obsolete at this point. I know. 16-bit still miss me. Beginners don't know how to gain stage. Dimebag Darren Lowe. If you're pricing a low audio output studio dynamic if you're pricing a low output studio dynamic, a line amp, and an audio interface, are you not just choosing the wrong interface? Yes.
There's a case to be made for that. I mean, you know, it is true that there are, like, for example, the Scarlett series, as much as I love it, the Scarlett interfaces. In fact, most modern interfaces are not designed to drive dynamic mics, because most of the people in the market go for entry-level condensers, which have substantially higher output.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the issues. Like, I see interfaces in the market with like 45 dB of gain. I'm like, who the hell? Meanwhile, they used to make boards, like the entry-level Mackie boards used to have 65, 70 dB of gain just out of the box. And now everything's going down because dynamic mics are becoming less and less common, which is ironic because like the go-to mics for everybody are still like these dynamic mics, and it's like,
well, and some of the best options at the $100 price point is SM58, right?
Yeah.
Now there is the Motu M2 can handle it due to its extremely low EIN, So you could still, you're boosting it in post, but you're not getting a whole lot of noise with it. So yes, you are getting the wrong interface if you're specifically going out for all three at the same time. Like if you already own Scarlett 4i4 or whatever, and you already own a condenser microphone and you want to get a dynamic, you know, it is what it is. M2 has 60 dB of gain. No, it has 55, I thought. Anyways, 60 dB.
So 60 dB, that'll barely drive the SM7. That's at 5 o'clock. It's barely going to drive the SM7.
Yeah, but the EIN is super low, so even when it's pinned, it does have a very low noise. Very
still,
low noise.
I'm uncomfortable setting a preamp to its max setting.
Well, I mean, yeah, 99% for an SM7.
Because generally, I mean, they're not generally designed to operate like, you know, that there's that last 10% of your gain is, or the like 50% of the gain, or I forget what it's like, 50 or 40% of the gain is in your last like 10% of a knob adjustment. I'm sure Bangs will correct me on that.
Before Bangs does that, Dimebag Darren Lowe says, are interfaces lower gain because of USB power limits? Should USB-C fix this? I like the Audient Evo line of interfaces, even though I own a UR44. I can say one thing, no, they're not lower because of USB power limits. You can get USB interfaces.
USB 3, USB 2 had some pretty shitty power ceilings, but now USB 3 and USB-C are all so ubiquitous, and the power that those things can deliver, even bus powered, is pretty substantial. And even then, like there are a lot of interfaces with external power supplies that are still. I have a Motu Audio Express. I have two of them, and they're just sitting collecting dust. And they have they're USB 2, and they have external power supplies, and their gain is still quite low.
Yeah. Well, and, I mean, it could just be the preamps, right? The preamps can't handle the gain.
Well, that's my thinking. You know, I think back with, for example, the MBox 2, which was bus powered USB 2.0, and it didn't have very good gain. So that might be attributed to the MBox 2 was shite for like a million other reasons as far as interfaces go. But the only reason anyone used it was because you had to use Pro Tools, pretty much. Yeah. It was the entry-level Pro Tools interface.
I mean, Bangs does bring up a good point. A lot of newer interfaces don't have the noisy 5% now. However, I mean, that's the updated preamps. That's the updated everything circuitry. Because it's all based on the circuitry and the preamps.
Oh, yeah. And now they know, just through trial and error over the years, they know how to make better stuff for cheaper than, you know, like what you can buy now for $100, what you got 15 years ago for $100 doesn't even compare. They're not cutting as many corners.
My Mix Pre is USB powered, and if it's underpowered, it shuts down 2 of the 4 XLR jacks. Huh?
What? That's a little dumb.
Well, even my Audio Fuse, if I can use it without the power brick. Like I can use it without the power. You just plug in the USB.
Is it USB-C?
Yeah, but it's USB 2.0 with the USB. Because USB-C isn't relative to USB 3.0. USB-C is just the style of the jack.
Oh yeah, I know it's not the specification; it's the type of port.
So mine is USB-C. However, it's only a USB 2.0.
It's operating on the 2.0 bus,
But it's
so it's not
powered.
taking. It's not taking it. So USB 2.0, it didn't have like half an amp, like
I know.
current cap. Like
Yep.
that was the most annoying thing about USB 2.0, and then 3.0 they bumped it up to whatever it was, like an amp and a half or something.
Yeah,
Like,
1.5.
Yeah, stupid amount of power. Well, not literally like a very good amount of power.
Well, and I can use it. The AudioFuse Studio works, but it works minimally, like very minimally. Like you don't get most of the usage out of this thing. So yeah, it needs to be powered on. Even most of the lights don't work with it, just plugged in by USB-C.
The fact that they even make that, like, they should just flat out be like, nope, you can. But I guess if somebody wants to use it portable on a laptop or something, I guess you'd want at least kneecapped functionality.
Yeah. Red Cabin says my ProFire 2626 has 75 dB of gain. Nice.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
But I have 71
ProFire.
dB with the AudioFuse. I've never.
That's not Focusrite. What is the ProFire?
I have no idea. I'm going to rely on.
I
you
know
to
the
search
product. I know the. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. I mean, they're probably gonna tell me before.
Type C
but
in theory can drive a lot of power at Dimebag Darren Low. I actually don't know the specs behind Type C. Well, it's not Type C. It's 3.0.
Yeah, I think that the point there is in theory. I mean, I think there is a maximum that's quite high compared to the maximum of USB, like a regular USB B cable that's on 2.0. But that's contingent on them using the right protocol and taking advantage of those extra lanes to deliver the power.
What's interesting is I'm pretty sure it's because I have a Ryzen, the first gen Ryzen chipset. If I plug any interface into my USB 3.0 ports, it doesn't work properly. Or the 3.1 ports, it just does not work properly. I have to plug them into a 2.0, and the AudioFuse will go into a 3.0, but it's the only one I've owned. Every other one, I think it's the bloody Ryzen chipset that does that. If the MixPre, if I plug in a USB-A port on my Mac, will down power. It has high power requirement. Wow.
Yeah,
he says it's old M audio.
M audio. The ProFire series was all right. I know a couple people that used it, but I think just in general, I think it's not great interface design. I know there are some examples of, for example, on location film sets. Not every film crew uses a field recorder. I've seen several that will literally use a MacBook in an interface on battery power, and that's how they'll get their on location sound. So I understand there still is a market for interfaces that are operable on USB power, but in that case, like, get an H6 or something. At least then it'll, not kill any of the functionality to run on batteries.
Yeah.
And then plug it into a power bank.
Yeah, everyone's just talking USB 3.0 versus USB Type C. No, I've also been getting to the point where now my computer, I was just mentioning the Ryzen's first gen Ryzen, it's about 4 years old now. And you can't buy a graphics card to save your life. So I might actually have to push forward that Mac acquisition. It's, not doing well. DSLR video shooter. I'm wondering why they've got a check.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen that too. I don't know what that is.
What is that check mark? Does that mean you're verified?
Can I hover above it?
No, it doesn't do anything. Thanks for all the mic videos. Been watching your Shure SM58 versus SM7B content for a very interesting DIY mod. Appreciate ya. Thanks. Actually, I have another mod that I'm going to be doing to either the SM58 or SM7B, and that's I'm going to be putting in a
transformer. Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm going to be actually shoving a FET head inside either one of those mics. I think it might have to be in the back portion of the Shure, which is going to take some finagling.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that last week. It's like, that's a really tight squeeze.
It is. I can probably do it. I have yet to take apart the FET head.
Yeah, do that first and get a sense of what the actual core components, because a lot of it might just be the literal port itself.
The
on
chip,
either side.
The chipset in there, or the board in there is like, it's a thumbnail. It's literally a thumbnail with a female and a male XLR attached to it. That's all it is.
Yep, I'm seconding Bangs here. I am not getting on the Mac train. I use too many different software suppliers, none of which support the M1 yet. So
I'm
am waiting on that.
What I'm going for with the M1 is straight up the. I'm going to be going all Mac, Logic
Mac
Pro
software.
X, all that software. The reason I'm buying in is because I need to expand the studio to be able to do with interfaces, especially to be able to kind of focus on Mac as well as PC. So, what are you laughing at?
Aston Stealth.
they did the work for you. Nice. And you know what? As much as I don't necessarily want to go buy a Mac, like I do want a Mac again because I do like certain things about Logic Pro and all that stuff. The fact that and I'm pretty sure it's Adobe Premiere Pro that's crashing my computer like every 6 or 7 minutes.
Still doing that, eh?
Well, it started even worse. Like I blue screened one day, it just like shut down. Everything just like shut down, came back. I did a mem check. I did everything.
Oh, good old Memtest 86.
Oh, it takes forever to do.
The blue screen of diagnostics.
Oh, it's drives me nuts. And I know it's Premiere Pro. And no, I'm not going to go to Sony Vegas. No, I'm
Damn
not
it,
going
Adobe. Well, you're not going to go to Media Composer and spend like another $500?
I don't know how to use Media Composer.
I will say Media Composer, if you've used the old Steinbeck editing machines, it's more intuitive. If you've never used
Nope.
an analog, more linear editing system for like film reels, it is a totally different beast than the typical non-linear editor.
No, and I couldn't be arsed. Sorry. I would much rather move my editing over to Final Cut Pro.
Well, can you not roll back to like a previous version of Premiere that actually worked fine?
You kind of can, but then none of them actually work fine. Like I haven't had a version of it.
Because I know Microsoft just recently issued their H1 2021 update with a bunch of back end stuff. Maybe that's having an effect on it.
That is actually possible. I could look into that and roll back my Windows. But
I mean,
still.
like I've read the release notes. I don't think there's a ton there that would really impact Adobe that much. I mean, they've done some tweaks to Windows Defender. They've done some like registry rearranging a little bit in a couple areas, but there's nothing.
It's to the point where I almost wiped my C. Like I almost wiped the C and just redid everything. Well, I've got all my content is all on other drives, right? Like I have 6 drives.
Yeah, but you still got to like for me to rebuild. Yeah. I mean, I have an image of mine of its working setup, so I could re-image it from Norton Ghost because I still use that. I'm like one of the only people that still uses that. But it works. What can I say? But still though, it would take a while because there's some stuff that I've installed that like Waves plugins, Isotope plugins, all kinds of that shit that I'd need to rebuild, which would take like a couple days.
Yeah, well, stable. And that's like even for me is probably a full weekend of just redoing everything. A full weekend, like I'm not doing anything else. Just Bang says I could not function without a Mac. This is the unfortunate truth of my situation. And Media Composer First is free. I do have to say, especially with Avid, I'm not getting any of their free stuff.
I know. I can say Pro Tools First is a pain in the ass.
It's trash.
People have tried. Like, I don't have it. I've never used it, and that's not me flexing. That's just fact. I've been a subscriber of Pro Tools long before they ever had the Pro Tools First model in their lineup. And people have asked me for advice, like they're getting it. They're like, I'm having this problem. I'm like, okay, go to the start screen and click this button. It's like, well, that button's not there. I'm like, oh, fuck.
No, and you know what? Like, I haven't used Pro Tools since you needed hardware to operate it. Like, that's how long it's been.
A lot has changed.
I think it's been 14 years since I've used Pro Tools.
It's not the same software at all.
Well, and
I've been on it since Pro Tools 6.4.
What year was that?
2000 something.
Yeah, I don't even remember. Like I was using Logic Pro back in the day, and that was one of my favorites. And because I'm teaching a college course, I also get the educational discount on everything. So I get the whole pile of Apple software. So all of the Motion, Logic Pro X, Final Cut Pro is $250 for me. All of it. Instead of spending $1,000, it's $250. So that's why I'm looking at Apple going, I could get rid of my $300 and some odd a year. No, actually it's closer to like $400.
Hey, Darren still uses Ghost. Hells yes, represent. I gotta agree with Red Cabin Acoustic here. I know of several studios that haven't updated their systems are completely disconnected from the outside world. They haven't updated their machines. Their machines are still running on XP in some cases because they have, and I think there comes a time when new software updates come out, new things, they fix bugs for certain things, and I think sometimes you have to sacrifice stability every once in a while just to try a new thing. But I think, once you've got a good thing going and you're like, I don't think I'm going to need anything new for a while.
Yeah, unplug it and go.
Totally disconnecting from the outside world, at least, until they, or keep yourself connected until they discontinue the OS.
I've tried to get a version of Adobe Audition CS6 and Adobe Premiere Pro CS6 for several years. You can't find it. Nobody's giving it up.
I don't have 6. I have CS 5.5, which is very similar to 6. But I've got the CS 5.5
I would
Master
love
Collection.
to get that. However,
and it's on Mac. It's the Mac version.
Yeah, I have to keep my computer up to date because I run a radio station out of here. I even have to update Java. Yes, I have Java on my computer. Like, there's a bunch of things that I have to do just for that. So, the only people that can't live without a Mac have been stuck on Mac. Everyone else alive does it every day. Ouch. Oh, someone's throwing shade in the comments. It's hard to argue with Reaper. Yeah, Reaper. I've worked with a couple times. If you were to put me between Logic Pro X and Reaper, I would take Logic Pro X every day. Absolutely 110%.
Yep, I would too. And I hate Mac, but I would still,
yeah,
I would still choose Logic.
But I liked Reaper. It wasn't like, oh my God, I've got to get this. The price though, wow. Was it $60 for a full thing of Reaper? It's ridiculously cheap. Dimebag Darren, I'm a morning show host up here in Canada. 95.7 Element FM, if you're ever curious.
I love how you said that, just like the imaging. 95.7 Element FM.
We are the new beat of Ottawa. You're an influencer at this point.
Lamau. There's that word again.
Lamau. Oh,
Lamau.
influencer.
No, influencer. Yeah.
Lamau. Who said? Oh, that's what's his name. Well, I guess a lot of people say it. I just.
I more say it just to be ironic.
Goddamn, Davey 504 Lamau. That's where I get it from. Sorry, at American Liberty, I do it or IT, I'm guessing, and I'm really being precise in what I say.
I was reading that and I was trying to scroll up to figure out what the hell we're talking about, but
because Americans said the only people that can't live without a Mac have been stuck on Mac. Everyone else alive does it every day. So throwing shade and bangs is biting back. I have CS6 running on a partition drive, Catalina on the other partition. You can't do that on the new M1s, I don't think. Well, you can't run Windows on an M1 because M1 is ARM. So they do have, I think they're getting a working version of Boot Camp, but nothing good from Windows is on ARM. Nothing's been developed for Windows on ARM. And the ecosystem they have with their stupid the Microsoft, what's that? The tablet computer. Dylan's completely gone blank on me. Windows ARM computer. Surface. The Surface computer is a perfect example of that. It's just, there's nothing good that runs on ARM for Windows.
So Parallels hasn't even managed to create some kind of wrapper for it, because I mean Parallels Desktop, is still, I think even in my experience amongst professionals, Parallels is used more commonly than Boot Camp.
I don't know.
At least in this industry,
but what are you going to run on an ARM processor Mac that you need from Windows? Like, you need to have a program that's designed for ARM processing unless you have this separate layer for encoding ARM to x86. Because x86 software is not going to work on an ARM.
No.
So you're kind
No,
of screwed.
unless you have some kind of like instruction set thesaurus
And I don't.
integrated.
Yeah, I no
Which
thanks.
is going to massively
Yeah.
slow down the performance of the applications. It does not seem like a good idea at all.
Dimebag Darren Lowe took radio broadcasting at BCIT in '83. Oh, so
British Columbia Institute of Technology. is
Dimebag
that what it is?
Darren Lowe. You've been on
I
the
love
radio,
that
buddy.
name. I love that name. Dimebag Darren Lowe.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a ripoff from Daryl.
It sounds very on air.
Yeah, well, it could also reference just the fact that there was a lot of cocaine in radio for quite a while.
No, legit. That's legitimately a thing.
Still there now.
Uppers and
Dimebag, let me
low.
know if you're actually still on the radio. American Liberty, when you're operating under professional standards, you need to run with Works Max work. That's true. Macs do work. And you can use a Reaper license like a book. Bangs Naughty Bits. Oh,
Well,
that's interesting.
as much as that's true, and again, I don't knock anybody that uses Macs, but I have had zero issues with the stability of a PC, and I've used a PC for my entire, most of my professional career.
I can argue that personally, the stability of my computer, especially with the new Adobe software, yeah.
Yeah, but that's Adobe.
Wilf Clegg, High Sierra is the last OS version that will run Adobe CS. No way. That's
Oh yeah, he
cheap.
only knows because he's got these licenses, and I don't know. Have you updated to? I don't remember. I feel like we talked about this before, but have you updated to the new OS yet? Or are you still sitting in the version prior just so you can run Adobe?
I would.
Or are you running on the PC
I
side?
would stay with Sierra, High Sierra. The M1 means you cannot boot from USB anymore. That
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, Surface RT and Parallels is what the M1 Rosetta layer uses. Interesting. Apple licensed it. It's not a huge performance hit. Good to know. It's a complete ripoff, but Dime don't mind. Yeah, Dime's got other things on his mind. I just go live with StreamYard to exercise my demons to broadcast. They can't stop me. I take it you've been fired at some point in radio.
Who hasn't?
Welcome to the club, buddy. Welcome to the club. I'm actually on a station that promotes Indigenous music, and it's a small station that's based out of Winnipeg, but they have two stations, Ottawa and Toronto. I'm the Ottawa morning show host, and relatively secure job as long as I don't go and drop any F-bombs on the radio. But it's also it's been an interesting experience. Also working from my basement. Again, interesting experience. Reaper is Windows or Mac, so same for Hindenburg. Wow. Hindenburg.
Most applications run on most applications in the big leagues, with the exception of the platform specific like Logic, run on both platforms. I have just had some really nasty hardware reliability issues with Macs. I'm not going to get into that again. But for that reason alone, Macs have proven, in my experience, to be not acceptable for mission-critical applications. So I will never be investing in a Mac computer again for that exact reason. So sorry, Apple.
And I'm faced with kind of the same vibe when it comes to PC and working with Adobe.
I think it depends. There's a lot of variables here. There's what different softwares are you using? What kinds of modifications, drivers are you installing in your system? That might make the system less stable. That's one thing about PCs is because they open the floodgates to pretty much anyone to design stuff for them. There's all kinds of additional things that you can do to a PC that makes something unstable. So it's totally possible that maybe for some reason your Arturia driver is causing some issues. It could be anything.
Doubt about it.
It could be anything. And again, that's not knocking Arturia. That's just
it's what they're going to step on each other 110%.
Yeah.
And it's just the little things where it's like, it's a Thursday. I'm editing a video that needs to be out for Monday, and my computer will not stay on with Adobe Premiere Pro. Mm-hmm. Now, I can do one of a few things. I can remove Adobe from my computer, move to another software to actually edit the videos, but now I'm learning a whole new flow. And now my videos slow down because I have to take the time. I have to go out. I have to find all the title templates. I have to go out and find all this stuff. And I don't want to do that, frankly. Like I just don't want to. I'm kind of in the pocket while doing videos right now for YouTube. And it's taken me a while to get into the pocket for doing videos for YouTube. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try.
And you get like a workflow. And I think, you do it for any amount of time, and your workflow becomes pretty critical in order to maintain an acceptable amount of productivity.
Yeah.
So I think you're running into that where it's like you could change, but it's just going to be such a backward stroke to get.
Yeah, and I'm
Anything done.
willing to do it if I know that change is going to bring me success and speed in the long run. And I do know Final Cut Pro is highly favored amongst YouTubers. And-
Just people in general. There are full feature films that have been edited in Final Cut.
Oh, absolutely. And it was the same thing with Premiere Pro, but with Final Cut Pro, and you see a lot of YouTubers saying, I'm done with Adobe, I'm going back to Final Cut Pro. It's been probably 8 years since I used Final Cut Pro, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be
Well, and
out
again,
of step.
Going back to it here, I know I've been seeing, you're not the only one, by the way, that I've been seeing having issues with Adobe recently. And again, I'm not sure if it's because, again, Microsoft just issued a big update. Adobe also just issued a bunch of big updates. Either one of them could be causing an issue. But either way, Adobe, what the hell?
Well, hey, if they didn't have a bloody subscription service, this wouldn't be an issue.
No, but it's, again, I go back to the ethics of that. You guys are charging people for this exact kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is why you're
And
charging people.
I'm paying on a discount, by the way. I got it for Good Friday. The discount is I pay 60 Canadian dollars a month for a service that should just work. I should click on the button and it should just fire up and go.
Yep.
That's flat out. That's a subscription service. Anyways, let's get to some comments while I rage out about that. I was trained in radio while we still use all tape and no digital cut and splice and key on pod up. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess 83, that was before the DAWs.
Oh, we forgot
Bang
about
says
DaVinci.
your system, yeah, DaVinci. I've considered DaVinci, but the workflow is, I'm getting into another workflow issue where there's a relearning process with DaVinci.
I've debated it because I've watched some videos on DaVinci and it is a sexy application.
It is sexy.
Well, and just its
also-
capability is on par with all the other big
Yeah,
dogs.
the color is the biggest one. Well, no, that's what everybody says. Like their color correction is top notch on DaVinci.
It's
like
true.
110%. I edited that, what was almost my first video just the other day to make a short out of a live I had just done. I used Windows Video Editor, so that's where I'm on the scene. Yeah, the power that you get from an actual DAW video editor is huge. The ability to use title plugins, like I went and I purchased a title pack from a guy named Peter McKinnon, and
Yeah, that guy. I know that
it's
guy.
fantastic. Like I don't know how to use Adobe After Effects.
Honest to God, I have a rudimentary to early intermediate amount of knowledge in coding and such in After Effects, and it is so absurdly different from what Premiere is.
It's ridiculous.
And I'm not a VFX guy. I can't understand VFX. Like, I would love to sit down with a VFX artist and just pick their brain on how they do some of this shit because I find it fascinating. I love the work that they do. I just can't wrap my head at all around how to do it.
No, and like I actually wanted to go and take a course in it at a community college because they do have courses, and they start.
And there's a
you
lot of
from
money in that
basics.
because it's one thing that there still aren't a ton of people in the business that
No.
do. It's not an oversaturated market. If you create a business in a scene and you can get in doing VFX work for content creators, boom,
and
you got it
it's-
made.
And think of this: just a title pack. I paid $50 Canadian to Peter McKinnon for a title pack that basically just brings titles onto the page magically. That's all. That's all it does.
You're gonna have to send me a link because I want to see the pack that you got just for
Well,
shits.
if you've ever watched my videos, it's called the PM Motion Pack. You can Google search it. It's $50 and it's amazing.
How long ago did you buy that?
A year and a half ago, I ended up having to upgrade.
So about just about when your sort of video slate and everything changed up.
Yeah, and that's what changed it all.
Yeah. Now I'm connecting the dots.
Bangs, your system sounds are default. The
I don't know what that
magnetic,
means.
the magnetic FCO for Final Cut Pro timeline is nice for workflow. Yeah, and that's the one thing that workflow, Final Cut Pro, everyone says the workflow is amazing. DaVinci Resolve is making a strong push. Yeah, I just split and I had to trim, and the YouTube editor worked better. I would use it. Oh yeah, the YouTube editor is garbage, but it's also a cloud-based editor, so and it is what it is. You should try just using iMovie and see how far that takes you.
It's like, I might as well go back to Windows Movie Maker. Although I'm not being fair. iMovie is substantially more capable than Windows
Probably,
Movie
yeah.
Maker ever was.
The audio in DaVinci is iffy, as per Curtis Judd. Interesting. This is the one thing you don't hear a lot of these video guys talking about is the audio. The one reason I freaking love Premiere Pro is that it's attached to Audition. If there's a clip in Premiere Pro, like just a small little clip that I realized I popped a P, right click, edit in Adobe Audition, take the pop P out, I'm done. It's a matter of like 20 seconds. Instead of saving the file, grabbing the audio, opening it in another DAW. So the idea of being able to do that would be huge.
That is, one of the incentives that the big guys use to tie in. Now, you got to wonder if something like FCP, if there's any kind of integration with Logic.
There's going to be
There has to be, because that, like Apple, as one of Apple's, I don't want to say it's a sin, but one of their biggest mannerisms as a company is finding 1,000,001 reasons why you need to rope yourself into their ecosystem.
Yeah,
for everything,
everything's
for cloud
attached.
storage. Oh yeah, but the reason that it's so enticing is because everything is attached so well.
Yeah,
that you can't help but not want to just jump in head
all
first.
friggin' works.
Yeah.
The Fairlight, if I recall, that's the Fairlight. That's the audio for DaVinci, and I've heard bad things about it. It just sucks. Dimebag Darren Lowe says, "I know Peter's stuff." I don't know what that's referencing.
Peter McKinnon.
Oh, Peter McKinnon. Yeah, dude's amazing. Dude is amazing. Fellow Canadian, probably one of the best Canadian YouTubers.
Represent.
By a long shot. Nice to see you still using the P220, thinking about getting one. Don, if you're thinking about getting an AKG P220, do not go for the P240 or 420. 240. God damn it. Don't go for the P420 unless you need the extra polar patterns. I do have a full review coming out on Monday with the P420. Still a beautiful mic, still a great mic, but the P220 is where it's at. It is also a little richer in the low end. You can tell like it's tweaked a little bit more for the frequencies. A little less EQing on the P420, but that's about it. American Liberty, try Skillshare for a month and watch a few courses on it to see if you want to move forward.
Skillshare actually does have some good content. I mean, I have yet to see something that either on Skillshare that I either don't already know or, either don't care about or already know, or stuff that I can find on YouTube for free. Because there's a lot of great content creators that are on YouTube making content virtually for free. That should be paying more. I will say that.
I find there's a lot of YouTube content creators like teaching stuff that just shut up and tell me what you need to tell me.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of drivel. There's a lot of
I can't watch.
There's a lot of fluff.
Hey Don, if you want to buy the P220, check out the link on my video for the P220. I do get a little bit of money back, and if you want to support the channel, those Amazon links are a massive help.
The old affiliate link.
Oh, you know what? It's almost as much as I make on YouTube, and it's a big help. If I'm ever going to be able to do this full time, it's going to be a big part of it. Bang's Naughty Bits. I own entirely too many Pixel Film Studio packages for Final Cut Pro. Nice.
That's fair. That's me with Waves plugins.
Dimebag, I know Reaper has video too, but I don't know much about it. I'm probably not going to edit video on a platform that's not meant for video, because Adobe Audition has video as well. But it's not good. No,
I can attest. I've tried to do some things that should be relatively simple, and I vented to you once about it, and you were like, that's not a problem. Like, no, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
Dimebag says, that's the Neumann, isn't it? Yes, that is a Neumann. He has an NT2A. Welcome to the club. That is my main VO mic that I've used for years, which is about to get an upgrade.
It's a great mic.
Bangs. Apple's...
Wait.
What?
I was going to say, are you pulling the trigger on the...
maybe. Where there's a few things on the go in regards to that, and I'm trying to be careful with my money. I'm just trying to be careful. Apple is 80%, 20%, 80%, 20%. 80% is butter smooth. 20% of what you want to do is virtually impossible.
Well, the thing is I'm a firm believer of there's a constant tug of war, a tightrope between flexibility and usability. Yeah. If you want something to be, and we've seen this with boards. I mean, you look at you look at like a Mackie analog board. Digital boards are a bit of a different story because they have more flexibility with their design than analog boards generally do. But you look at a Mackie, like a live board, it's very easy to use compared to other things. You look at like an Audient ASP 8024 like 36 channel studio desk, and the amount of buttons and the amount of, or even like an SSL, one of the SSL like J9000s or even the SSL Duality, their flagship hybrid board. It's very complicated. The manual of that thing is like 5,000 pages long. Because SSL is known for their routing, and there's tons of analog routing options on that thing, and all of them are represented by a button. But so I think software, as much as it's a little easier to design something that's both flexible and usable, I think there still is a trade-off when you get, like, for example, Pro Tools, quite flexible for the most part. Not very usable by most people's standards. I'm used to it. But if you're just getting into the market, Pro Tools, I would not recommend it for getting started in audio.
No, by no means. Bangs is trolling us. I have an NT1, but my voice is meant for a Pile Pro. Damn it. Thanks, Don. I appreciate that. Dimebag, the same reasons people bought Apple in the past will be the same reasons in the future. Apple is an appliance. Yeah, no doubt about that. It's also an appliance that's supposed to break every 2 years. Dimebag says, bought my Rode secondhand along McQuaid. I have a revolving account, a terrible thing to have and a scourge to my wife. Dude, I should show you my microphone stash. My wife's still like, did you just buy another bloody mic? It's for the channel. I swear. So
you need to like make it like a display case at some point. Just build your own custom like glass.
I've considered actually like selling a few off just to support the next, but then I need them to be able to do the reviews, right? Like if I'm doing comparisons, I need to have condenser mics to compare them to. Like I now have an AKG series mic for everything.
I would say keep a couple of really shitty ones, keep a couple of really amazing ones, like the TLM, for example, because those are great benchmarks to test new mics against. But like stuff in the middle, like if you got a bunch of mics in like the $600 range, sell them.
No, actually the most I have is between 2 and 4. That is the big one. And you know what? I mean, I kind of,
so big he popped the B.
You see somebody like, you see somebody like Bandrew who like, he's like, okay, I'm testing this microphone, comparing it to 35 other microphones. And it's like, crap. I don't want to do that, but I know that's the kind of stuff that people are looking for, right? They want to see that this one microphone compared to everything else.
Oh yeah, the comparison videos are huge. The analytics don't lie.
So for that alone, I kind of have to keep the microphones. Like,
but again, I think that keep the ones that people know about. Like keep the NT2A, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, you would keep that anyway, and keep like the 58. Keep the ones that everyone's curious. How does that Behringer that nobody, or how does that newer condenser mic that nobody knows about compare against this mic that everybody's talking about?
What is it? The 700. That's I gotta pick that one up. The newer 700 or something.
There's one of their condenser mics that's like $59.
Yeah, there's a lot of condenser mics that are like $59.
And I saw somebody put the. I saw somebody put the newer against a Telefunken U47, which is like a $12,000 microphone.
Well,
and needless to say, there was a substantial difference. I normally don't notice. I don't say I don't notice. Normally, I would say the difference is negligible for the price. But now, is it a $12,000 difference? I don't think so, but it's still a big difference.
However, I do have to say, like, for me to buy a cheap mic, and this is kind of why with the Pile mic, I was a little irritated. One is nobody's watching the bloody Pile video. Like, nobody watched the Pile video. And it's even worse because it's not the money I spent on the microphone that annoys me. It's the fact that I spent 20 hours doing that content. Like, I spent 20 hours between writing or reviewing the mic, so taking the mic out to testing the mic, doing all the things, writing the script, shooting the video, doing the tests, all that stuff, posting it online, and it has 147 views over the last week. I can't do that. So I have to make sure when I'm buying a microphone, not so much financially, because I can afford to buy an AKG P420, but I can't afford to buy a $13 microphone and have it just drop. I don't want that for my channel. That's the one thing that.
Well, I think it's just like, I think it's a matter of like paying attention to the conversation. Like, hit up Twitter, figure out what mics are people like asking questions about.
Oh, dude, I have some videos that like I have no idea why they perform the way they do.
Well, there's that too. I think
you own a shock mount? I did a video up about should you own a shock mount? Because I see a lot of people that are like, I want to get the RE20. Well, the shock mount's really expensive. You don't need the shock mount for the RE20. There's no reason to buy the 309A. None. Absolutely none. Unless you are a broadcaster and you manhandle the thing while you're talking.
Yeah, unless you're just like doing like this.
Exactly. That's the only reason. If you just have the microphone in front of you, that shock mount's not going to do crap. So the point of the video was, the whole build-up is, if it comes with a shock mount, you need the shock mount. If it doesn't come with the shock mount, don't buy a shock mount. And that video is one of my top performing videos. And I actually held on to that video for about a month and a half after shooting it, thinking, nobody wants to watch this crap.
And then, well, even, when you and I did that first collab, the SM7 5857 sort of, informational thing, like, I don't know. I don't think either of us had like massive expectations for that, but that actually kind of went whoo, like that one went up there.
It's almost got 80,000 views, and it's like, I didn't expect that. However, I am starting to understand how the algorithm picks up certain videos, because if it has high searchability on YouTube, so anything about an SM58 is probably going to be searched, because a lot of people searching that. Anything
it's
about
still touted as an industry standard, so people.
Anything SM7B is going to be searched. So then you're like, okay, well, what can I do with an SM58 or an SM7B?
Lots of comparison videos.
The Beta 58A is a great example of that. The SM7 or SM58 versus the the Beta 58A versus the SM7B. There's a video.
You should make your own. Do your own like more scientific version of the whole. Let's destroy the hell of a 58 and see if it still performs well.
Well, so just a second. Let's get through a couple of these. I've got to go in a few seconds.
Behind.
You learn one, strip the rest, repeat, kinda. I'm eyeing shotguns now, something less than the 416. I want to get the MKH 416 so bad.
Yes, yeah, I'm on that train. I might
Bang
be my
says,
next mic.
every addict says that. You have a bad habit. Yes, I do. What would you
do.
suggest that is as close to the 416 but doesn't cost like it? Like, love Banjo, Jonathan Krause. Yeah, I do love Krause. Julian Krause. If you're going to go for the Synco Mic D2 is probably the cheapest option. That is relatively close to the 416. I do know I want to pick up a D2. However, the Synco's had some interesting relationships with influencers as it is. So I watch Booth Junkies, and I believe Booth Junkies, he put the 416 and the Synco D2 right beside each other, and they worked like it was fantastic. The other option is the Rode NTG 4 or 4 Plus that apparently a lot of people love.
I think as much as the 416, as far as like Electret, like shotgun mics, it is concerned, it does have a really great sound, but I think a lot of the benefits of the 416 come from its shotgun rejection pattern.
You know what pisses me off?
What?
Is you see YouTubers who are using it to stream. That's their stream mic.
Who is doing that?
Oh my God. A lot of them, they'll see the logo. Oh, here's my setup and here's this mic, you probably never heard of it. It's a Sennheiser MKH 416. It's what everyone has. It's like, why? Okay, so the MKH 416 was originally a boom mic for movies. Still is.
It still is, and it does that job probably better than most.
Then they realized voiceover artists sound fantastic with it if you have a lower register. Mm-hmm. And now you have YouTubers using it to stream their video games. Oh my God. Anyways, the NTG4 is a great option. I know a lot of people that love it. And you're right. The Sennheiser MKH 416's price is reflective of its popularity more so than
well, just like the SM7B is. The reality is the I was going to say the SM7B is more expensive than the 58, but actually has less stuff in it than the 58. Yeah. But that's not totally true.
Actually, no, it's pretty packed in there. I opened one up.
It's lacking a transformer, but there are a substantial amount of other structural additives and a slightly modified cartridge design, and
Yeah.
There are some changes, but back in the day we used to joke about that because of the fact it had no transformer in it. And it was like, oh, you're actually getting less for more.
Deity, Bang says Deity. I haven't used much Deity, so I'll go with what Bang says. I've beat up XM8500, don't we all? Oh man, I just missed. Everyone's talking.
I know.
I tell people to use the mic they have. Perfect. It comes with a nice cable, the brown box. The 309A is a zombie defense mechanism. Yes, it is, but that's about all it's good for. Dimebag, I remember in the 70s when Pile was cheap car stereo stuff. Now it's cheap microphone stuff.
They still do make cheap, cheap hi-fi gear.
Yeah. The SM7B is a hot mic, and everyone wants to justify why they paid $400 on it. Yeah, that's exactly the SM7B does sound fantastic.
It is a fantastic mic. I still use it as one of my main VO mics. I use the 87, the U87 for singing VO and really high profile VO stuff, and then or relatively high profile VO stuff. I'm not going to be too pretentious about that. But and then the SM7 for everything else, kind of middle like day to day VO stuff.
I have a Beta A. It was my stage mic, and I beat the hell out of it. Yeah, me too. Way back in 2007. That's Dimebag. The Rode NT3 is known to be very 416-like and more robust. I might the 4 Plus, the active one. Yeah, we'll see. Love Mike Delgadio. Rode NTG5 from American Liberty. I have not heard anything about the NTG5. I've got to actually pick that up. Not the 4 or 4 Plus, very different. The NT3, all brass and robust. Okay, then I will get the NTG4. Which one, or the 3? Which one is that?
So this is a mic I've had for a while. This is the Audio-Technica 835B.
Yeah.
Shotgun mic. And for VO, this thing actually, obviously on a sort of shooting location or mounting it for YouTube videos on a mic stand above the frame and everything, it sounds great. But actually for VO, this thing also sounds pretty good. It's not quite as present. The low end is just as good as the 416 in my opinion. And this thing, I think, if they even still sell it, I know it's discontinued, so if you bought it, you'd probably have to get it used. But it's quite good for like $300. Is what it went for, pretty much new, or $350.
I will look into that.
So if you ever find the 835 on eBay or something, get it.
So American Liberty saying Rode NTG3, and then American Liberty is actually going to call out Mike Delgadio. Synco Mic D2 does not live up to hype. Wow. Because I did watch the reviews on it. That said, it's not the first shotgun mic I'm going to buy, but at some point I will be getting a Synco Mic D2, even if I have to start doing side-by-sides with shotgun mics. NTG3, my mistake. Oh, yeah. Unidyne 3 capsule, yes. American Liberty, I think Alan at Soundspeed said it did not also. Interesting, even Alan at Soundspeeds is counteracting Mike Delgadio. Wow.
Well, again, I mean, one albeit very renowned VO person, recommends a mic. Everyone's voice is different. Everybody's environment is different. Everyone's read is different. So I think
Alan at Soundspeeds definitely has a different voice.
Yeah, so I think as even the U87, like there are people that this mic sounds horrible on, and that sound better on a 414, which is half the bloody price. So it's I don't think there is one perfect holy grail of microphones. There's just mics that are more popular than others, and mics that people will be more religious about than others.
I'm gonna have to take a look once I start getting into the shotgun mic game, which I do plan on doing. There's so much to do at the moment. I'm gonna actually get a Synco Mic D2 just to put them side by side. Okay. Can you guys help me get into VO? Actually, if you can help me get into VO first, I will give you a hand right after that. VO is one of those things you just got to start working on it. If you want to do commercial VO, get yourself somebody to coach you. If you want to get into station imaging, get to know some people at stations, get a voiceover demo done with a producer. Regardless,
you're going to want to need a coach. You're going to want to have somebody that understands what inflections, because it's a lot of the changes. It's hard for you to hear yourself, and it's, I'm not even being a dick about it. It's fact that, as somebody that does coaching for VO, for imaging voices, I find even voices that we have that have voiced our stations for like 10, 15 years or more and have been in the business for 35, I still sometimes, if I'm sending out a promo to be voiced, I will read it in an audio file the way that I want them to read it. because
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a lot easier than trying to explain it to them over the phone.
This is fascinating. I can say one thing. You and I did 2 demos together. The rock one, which I didn't like my reads on the rock one. The news one, though, stands up. It's still...
the news one had personality.
Yeah.
In that case, I was going for a lot of what Victor Lyle does for the Green Brand, news talk stations in Canada. Like it has personality, but it's still high energy. It's hard hitting, but it has character. It's not just like, sort of the
You're
American
going to the moon.
super hard sell. Like
Yeah.
it's not that, because nobody wants to hear that anymore. Like I know a lot of American stations are still on that train of just hard sell, constipated. Like it's like, no, I don't. Nobody wants to hear that. People want to hear relatable stuff. They want to feel like they're talking with a friend. Being yelled at on the radio is not talking to a friend.
Oh, crap. We've been doing this for an hour and a half. Okay.
Not shocked.
I got to get going here really quick. NTG5, very good. Just not sounding like 416. Cinco quality control is lacking, to say the least. Fair enough. Cinco Mic D2 for its budget. Okay, not a 416.
So it's pre-Sonus.
Yeah, basically. I'm totally Canadian there, bud.
Oh, right there, bud.
I was just talking about Brittle Star. So tonight is taco night. Damn the consequences. Past the sour cream and full speed ahead. Amen,
Woo!
bangs. And thanks for the great stream. Glad you had UK link for P220. Hey, my UK links don't get a lot of love. Not a lot of people clicking those Amazon links. So cheers. Hopefully you love the mic. Let me know what you think. And Dimebag says, tacos. On that note.
Now I want fucking tacos.
Yeah, I do want tacos too. Cheers, guys. Love you all. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Friday. Got a video coming out with the P420 up on Monday. Have yourself a great weekend.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.